on the drive. Pull up, pop! Got it! She got it! She got it!
Yeah, everyone remembers that.
One of the great upsets in history!
But they remember this.
And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The magic of an upset followed by the disappointment of a title loss.
And next season, we got to come back ready and play because we know we want to get back here. We don't want to feel this feeling again.
We're going to be back here, no doubt. We're going to be back here.
So here they are, winners of every battle except for one. The Bulldogs have backed Bark with Bite, embracing a target, and showing off a fully developed arsenal. You think Victoria Vivians is a high-volume shooter? Nah, try a now efficient assassin. You think you're going to get a board? I mean, have you ever heard of Tierra McCowan?
So at the beginning of the game, I mean, teams are like, oh, you know, giddy and just going. But at the end of the game is when I always get them. So, I mean, either way, it's a lose-lose.
You plan on doubling either of those All-Americans? Well, that leaves Morgan Williams, or Blair Schaefer, or Rashunda Johnson.
Here's Johnson to tie the game.
Mississippi State has completed almost every step of Vic Schaefer's vision. Tonight, one last step remained, and another giant slayer stood in the Bulldogs' path.
Ogunbowale.
Our kids have been prepared for this moment. They've wanted to be in this moment.
Once again, a chance to win Mississippi State its first ever national championship. Yeah, that'd be something to remember.
Live from the capital city, this is the Sports Zone on WJTV 12.
Welcome into the Sports Zone. I am your solo host tonight, Tyler Griever. We've shown you that Morgan Williams shot so many times, but it's deserved. It's a piece of college basketball lore. The Mississippi State women rode that to ascend even further this season, all with the goal in mind of avenging their national title loss last year. Instead, they are denied by a team with a woman who took down UConn with a buzzer beater of her own and had just one left for the Bulldogs. Again, MSU trying to go for the first national title in school history in any sport. Meanwhile, Notre Dame won its only women's hoops crown 17 years ago to the date early on. Irish start fast. Arike Ogunbowale battles down low and gets that one to go. 6-0 Notre Dame. MSU already had 3 turnovers at this point. Bulldogs wake up, though. Down 12-8. They work it around. Morgan Williams left wide open for the 3. Misses, but Tierra McCowan is there for the board, the bucket, and the foul. Dogs led 17-14 at the end of the first. Second quarter, Dogs now lead by 6. Victoria Vivians gets the mid-range to fall. It's a 10-point lead for MSU. Now, if you have kids, here's where I'm going to warn you, because Tierra McCowan ain't letting nobody get an Easter egg, let alone a basket. You kidding? She's like, come on now. Look at this replay. MSU held Notre Dame to a season-low 3 points for the quarter, led 30-17 at halftime. The Fighting Irish owned the third quarter, outscoring MSU 24-11. In the fourth, tied at 41. They work it down low to Jessica Shepard for the bucket and the lead, part of a 12-0 run. Now it's a title fight. Vivians with a very tough drive, finding a way to make it. She led the team with 21, and it's a tie ball game. Later in the quarter, 2-point MSU lead. McCowan says she just wears teams down, and this is looking like Big T takeover time. And one, she's hype, and so is the hump back in Starkville. She had 18 and 17. 2-point game with 2 to go. And y'all know Rashunda Johnson is clutch, but in case you forgot, a triple to stretch the lead to 5. But here come the Fighting Irish. Marina Mabry left open on the wing for a tray of her own, and bang. Then under a minute to go, Jackie Young grabs the pass, goes up, ties things up at 58. Now the teams would trade turnovers. McCowan fouls out. Notre Dame called a weird timeout when it really could have won the game, but everything works out when you have Ogunbowale. An absolute dagger driven into Bulldog hearts. She slays the UConn Giant with 1-3 and wins a national title with another. Wow. Bulldogs heartbroken again, losing 61-58. So obviously this is just a gut-wrenching loss, to say the least. TJ Wary has gotten to watch some great basketball over the past 2 years in the women's Final Four. Boss, I don't even know where you go with this one, honestly. It's just a heartbreaker for MSU.
Well, Tyler, I'm now 0 for 4 in my media history in covering championship games, but that doesn't really matter because what matters is what happened today. And I mean, let's be honest. We saw Morgan Williams' shot, that iconic shot she had against UConn over and over and over again. Well, if you're a State fan and you've got your phone, you're probably just going to throw it to the side right now because all you're going to see for the next few days is Arike Ogunbowale's game-winning 3 to give the Notre Dame Fighting Irish its first title since 2001. Not to mention that 15-point deficit they overcame was the largest overcome in championship game history on the women's side. It was an unbelievable game, an unbelievable finish, but unfortunately for the Bulldogs this year, they're on the losing end of another championship game. For the second straight season, the championship confetti falling from the rafters isn't from Mississippi State. The locker room, as you can imagine, was a somber place.
I ain't feeling nothing. None at all.
I don't really think it's any comforting words right now. We were right there. Couldn't finish it out.
I don't really think you can say anything that's going to make the sting go away. I'm just proud that we fought.
We went 37-2. We got to the national championship game again. But, we just didn't finish.
Even though the Bulldogs made it look easy in the first half, the Irish made things look even easier in the third quarter. They went on a 16-1 run in the third to tie the game at 41.
They're a second-half team, and that we need to come out and punch first, and we just didn't punch first, and they came out and did exactly what we said they were going to do. Did their second-half team and came back.
I mean, we were stagnant on offense. We weren't attacking. When we did attack, we didn't make great decisions. We either got charged, missed a lot of layups, got a lot of jump balls. I think they frustrated us, and we had to gather ourselves a lot just to contain the team, stay together and don't fall apart.
Most definitely, I feel like we stepped off the gas. I feel like we were just standing around and not moving and not trying to create for each other. It was just real bad.
The fourth quarter was back and forth, but the Bulldogs, despite all that had happened, had a 5-point lead after a Roe Johnson 3 with 1:58 remaining in regulation. Come on. Head coach Vic Schaefer says what happened after that is his fault.
You're up 5 with 1:40 to go, something like that. It's my job to get those kids home. That's it. My philosophy is you're up 4, down 4 with 4 to go. It's my job as a coach to get them home, and I didn't get them home today.
However, Schaefer couldn't control Tierra McCowan, missing a wide-open layup with the game tied at 58. He had no control over what appeared to be a foul on Morgan Williams in the final seconds, and he had no control over a contested 3 at the buzzer that lost his team the game. However, he says his team could have controlled something.
Life's about one more. We talk about it all the time. We talked about it in pregame, and today's a great example of one more. You got to make one more play, one more stop. And so that's life, y'all. You don't let somebody one more you get the one more.
To get the one more, this program will have to wait one more year. For the seniors, though, the ones that took this program to places previously unknown, they finish letting the other team get one more on them. And the tough thing for this Mississippi State senior class is, that was it. They got to the championship game twice, and they come home empty-handed both times. Now you have to look to the future for Mississippi State. I mean, it's bright. Vic Schaefer can coach. The man can recruit. They've got a bunch of really good recruits on that bench tonight that are going to be having to play a big role for this program moving forward. But can you recreate a Victoria Vivians and a Morgan Williams and a Blair Schaefer and a Rashunda Johnson? Can you develop those players and maybe hopefully do it all over again? You never know, because you don't always get back here. It's not so easy to get back to a championship game. But what they will have for next year is Tierra McCowan in the center, because she just alters things for other teams' offenses. And so if you have her there and you can find a way to develop some players, you can get back. But it was hard to get back here a second time. Getting here a third time in a row won't be any easier. Now we have Tom Ebel from WCBI Sports joining us in a little bit. We're going to talk about this game a little later in the show. So for now in Columbus, I'm TJ Wary, WJTV 12 Sports.
Thank you very much, TJ. Coming up after the break, obviously, if you were in Starkville, you might have been expecting a party. You were dealt a little something different. We got some fan reaction coming from Cowbell Country next.
This is the Sports Zone on WJTV 12.
Ogunbowale for the win. Good!
Well, that is the scene in Starkville tonight, right after that shot went in. Just an absolute shocker for Bulldog fans. So the city of Starkville might have been expecting a one-of-a-kind party for the first national title in school history. Instead, folks are trying to swallow another bitter championship loss. WJTV 12's Katie Rose spoke to fans at Humphrey Coliseum as they try to cope with this.
Well, Tyler, from their lead at the beginning of the game until the fourth quarter when things started to tie up, there were waves of emotion here in Starkville as the Bulldogs tried to get back in their rhythm.
From nail biting, a little nervous tapping, to uncontrollable burst of excitement and a lot of cowbell ringing. Mississippi State fans watched closely, their eyes glued to the screen as their women's basketball team took on Notre Dame. But what started out as a great game for the Bulldogs quickly took a turn.
I'm kind of feeling numb.
Yeah, I don't really have any words right now. I'm shaky.
It's heartbreaking. I'm almost in tears. 2 years in a row, I just can't believe it.
Around the fourth quarter, fans went from hyped up to stressed out.
You know, when we took that lead, I was really happy. I was into it, cheering, and then just to see that broke my heart at the end. I just think it's amazing how crazy your emotions can go from so much joy into so much sadness in a matter of seconds just off a single shot.
Although it was a devastating night for the Bulldogs, fans say tomorrow is a new day.
They came out there with cowbells, and they're still winners to us. They're always going to be winners.
They're great. They're great, and they're champs in my heart, and they work their hearts out, and I'm so incredibly proud of them, and go Bulldogs.
It's great to see the way that we come together, and we're going to be back next year, and we're going to be strong, and I'm just super excited already for next season. Try to keep their head up because they had a great season, unbelievable season, unbelievable 2-year run that will be forever in history of women's basketball.
Yeah, a lot of hearts were broken here tonight, and the same thing can be said at different places around the city. WJTV's Jordan Crump joins us from the Cotton District with more fan reaction.
That's right, Katie. There are a mix of emotions in the Cotton District, from Mississippi State fans who thought this would be the year the state would bring a national title back to Starkville, even though the team fell short. I spoke to some fans who say they still stand behind the Dogs 100%.
Honestly, I'm so proud of them for getting so far. They're best team in school history. They're awesome, and I love all of them. But like I said, it's just awful, them falling so short. Like, it just stinks. Because they deserve it. They deserved it. If one team deserved it, it was them. They deserved it.
We're just heartbroken, sad. It's our senior year here. We thought we were finally get a national championship. You know, our girls, they've worked hard to fight for this, and just to see that game's just a total letdown, you know, but we still support them. We're fully behind them. We're going to welcome them in when they come in tonight. You know, we're just devastated. We just wanted that winning for our senior year.
Our future is we're going to get back here next year, and we're going to kill it. We're going to get back to where we were next year. We're going to win it all.
So while the Bulldogs didn't quite seal the deal with back-to-back appearances on the big stage, the future is bright for Mississippi State women's basketball. In Starkville, Jordan Crump for WJTV 12 Sports.
Thank you very much, Jordan and Katie. Let's go back to Columbus now, where TJ Wary is live with our buddy Tom Ebel from WCBI. Fellas, take it away.
Yeah, Tom was nice enough to come over here and hang out and talk some hoops. Tom, that was pretty gut-wrenching. What are your thoughts as you see that ball going up? Were you thinking it's going in?
To be honest, I think I was standing right next to you when it went live, and I feel like I blacked out for a minute. I mean, it felt like time stopped. It felt like air left the building if you were wearing maroon and white. You don't ask if you lose a game like that. I wouldn't ask that on anyone.
For sure. I mean, UConn can feel the same way. Yep. 2 years in a row now. What can you say about what happened to the Bulldogs in the second half? I mean, this is the largest deficit overcome in NCAA Women's Championship history. What do you think happened to the Dogs in the third?
What was interesting was in the first half, you saw Jazz Holmes and Jordan Danbury come in, and Vic Schaefer almost let them loose. Like, their on-ball pressure was fantastic. Vic even said it after the game, how pleased he was defensively in the first half. It felt like in the second half, Notre Dame just said, we won't run set plays anymore. They just attacked Mississippi State, drive after drive. They got the Bulldogs' almost entire starting offense or starting lineup in foul trouble, and that was the difference. It changes the complexity of the game when you have two All-Americans who are in foul trouble. You get punched in the face, and you don't know. Mississippi State didn't have the answer back.
What kind of adjustments do you feel like the Bulldogs could have made there in that second half?
I feel like you could continue the ball pressure. I felt like if you're going to have a team like Notre Dame just attack you all the time, pick them up at full court. They only played 6 girls. That was mainly their rotation. They had a lot of injuries this year. I feel like the one thing you could do is just pressure them constantly, set Jazz Holmes and Jordan Danbury loose again. And if Notre Dame can withstand that kind of pressure, then you go, you won the day. But I think a lot of it had to do with Mississippi State not being able to get their rhythm back. End of the second quarter felt strong, but they weren't able to really get any sort of baskets or any kind of clutch. A 16-1 run, what are you going to do about that?
Really nothing. I mean, like Vic said after the game, I mean, they got the play they wanted with the game tied at 58. Terry McCowan had a bunny right there, and she just missed it. That is a huge play that you got to make in a situation like that, especially you don't want to get the ball back to Notre Dame.
And it felt like that in the entire second half. It felt like there were a lot of plays or a lot of shots that Mississippi State had great looks. They just didn't go down. And so Vic Schaefer said it in the post game. He's going to give it to his All-American every single time. McCowan's came through with the clutch, and you just missed one at a very inopportune time.
Yeah, I mean, you get that shot, you get an easy shot like that, she's going to hit it 99 times out of 100. Not 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100.
Absolutely.
Those are the odds there. But, yeah, we appreciate you taking some time for us, man.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, he's Tom Elwell from WCBI Sports in Columbus, Mississippi. We're in Columbus, Ohio. I'm TJ Wary, and this is going to wrap it up for us here at the Final Four. Let's go back to the studio with Tyler.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. After the break, Malik Newman has another NBA decision in front of him, plus some Final Four highlights from yesterday.
This is the Sports Zone on WJTV 12.
I had to figure it out for myself before I pointed the finger at anyone else. So I definitely had to do some soul searching and figure things out.
So Malik Newman's plan didn't really work out. As one of the top recruits in the nation coming out of Callaway, he chose to stay home and go to Mississippi State. Obviously, that didn't really work. So a dude who looked like a one-and-done had to regroup and transfer. Bill Self says he FaceTimed the guard more than anyone, so that relationship was already there. Newman sat out a year after transferring to Kansas, something he says he needed before debuting in Lawrence this season. Self said Newman was fine, but just wasn't doing enough to really stand out. He called him and others on the team soft. That's when Newman responded, winning most outstanding player awards at the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA Midwest Regional. The former Charger entered the Final Four as a rarity in the one-and-done era, a young man who reevaluated his plan and came out stronger for it. So Newman and the Jayhawks were trying to take down what's been a pretty dominant Villanova team in this tournament. The Wildcats wasted no time showing that they are not slowing down. They rained down some threes. Nova tied a Final Four game record with 13 threes. Here's the catch. In the first half. Yeah, the game record in the first half. They led 22-4 at one point. So KU's trying to battle back. Udoka Azubuike, you don't care if you got a body on him. 2 hands for a manly slam. But really, this was just all about the Wildcats and the long ball. They finished the game with a new Final Four record, 18 three-pointers. They shot 45% from deep for the game. Villanova wins 95-79. Newman scored 21 points. He now has a decision to make on whether he wants to go to the NBA or come back to Kansas.
I haven't really just thought about anything. I mean, just want to get back with my teammates, make sure that they good. And, I mean, later on in a week or, sometime down the line, I'll sit down with Coach Steph and my family and have the discussion. But, I mean, right now, I haven't really been thinking about anything.
Well, the Callaway alum averaged about 23 points per game in Big 12 and NCAA tournament games for the Jayhawks. He finished the season averaging 14 points per contest. As for who the Cats will play, Loyola or Michigan, and yes, Sister Jean has a bobblehead. It's pretty glorious. I mean, we can all admit we're jealous of that. You know you've arrived when you got that. The 11th seeded Ramblers have been game all tournament. Final seconds of the first half, up 5. Dante Ingram with the board and putting it back up to beat the buzzer with the bucket. Loyola up 7 at the break. Second half, y'all know I love some low post work. Excuse me. Cameron Krupp with the shoulder dip, footwork, beat the chest, big man. He led Loyola with 17 points. Michigan's big man had an even better night. Moritz Wagner stepping out to can a triple in the man's face, tie game. How about a little bit more Wagner? Off the miss. He's coming in for the putback and a little bit more. Give him the foul, too. The German had a game-high 24 points with 15 rebounds. Sister Jean, she's seen enough. Good run for her boys, but Michigan outscores Loyola 47-28 in the second half to win 69-57 to match up with Villanova in tomorrow night's title game. When we return, Ole Miss baseball is on top of the SEC West after a tough stretch. That and a lot more baseball coming up.
This is the Sports Zone on WJTV 12.
Welcome back. There's usually a point in every season that you look at and go, hey, that's where we might figure out what kind of team we have. In the case of Ole Miss baseball, Rebel fans might be asking how good of a team they have. The answer could be very good after Ole Miss just went 5-2 in a 7-game stretch against top 15 opponents. Ole Miss trying to stay without a series loss this year against Arkansas yesterday. Early on, Razorbacks have a runner on second. That one looks like it's going into the stands. Well, I mean, so is Cole Zabowski, and he's getting the ball too. Outstanding catch. So he gets it done with the glove. How about the bat? Tied up a 1 in the 5th. He takes that one over the wall in center. Now, you're going to ask, why do we have a home run tracker up in the right-hand corner? And I'm going to tell you that you're going to see later. Just trust me. The 5th would be a big inning. Rebels up 4-1. Thomas Dillard shoots one into right field. A 4-run 5th puts Ole Miss up 5-1. Now, remember that dinger tracker I mentioned? It's about to get a lot of work. Here come the Hogs. Top 6, Heston Kjerstad goes yard to right. Score is 5-2. Home run count is at 2. Rebels up 8-2 in the 7th until Dominic Fletcher sends that out quick for the 3rd long ball of the game. Same inning, Grant Cook has a runner on and decides to send one to the bullpen, 8-5, and the count is at 4. I mean, the Rebs have some pop, too, now. It's 8-6 in the 7th until Tyler Keenan needs a beer shower and some breathing room. 3-run blast to make it 11-6. Home run count is at 5. But Arkansas ain't done, and we need some more dingers, man. Eric Cole launches one out for a 3-run bomb. 4 hog runs in the 8th make it 11-10. 6 homers now. So Parker Caracci had to come in, and he ends up getting a 5-out save. I know, you saw the fly ball. You might have thought it was another home run. Nope. The Rebels win 11-10 to take the series. They are in first place in the SEC West. MSU trying to win its first SEC series of the season at rival LSU. Michaela Hilliard, though, was not letting that happen. The freshman threw 6 shutout innings and struck out a career-high 9 batters in the process. Tigers got ahead early to make sure the young guy felt a little comfortable. Austin Bain comes up to the plate and whacks a double to right center to bring in the first run of the game. They'd only need 1 run because the Bulldogs lose this one 4-0 and drop the series. They're now 2-7 in SEC play. So that means the 2 rivals are on opposite ends of the SEC West standings. Ole Miss is on top of the division at 6-3. Mississippi State in last at 2-7. Obviously, the Rebels moved ahead of Arkansas after beating the Hogs in this latest series. Ole Miss has Memphis next, while MSU gets Southern. Next weekend, though, the Bulldogs and Rebels meet for the first time for a 3-game series in Starkville. Southern Miss walked off on Rice yesterday, going for a sweep of the Owls today, down 2-0 early. Check out Fred Franklin laying out to make the grab in center field. Great play. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th. Golden Eagles rallying. Bases loaded. That one gets away from the Rice shortstop. Scores one to make it 5-1. Later in the, 2-1. My bad on that. Let's go to a little later now. Matt Walter was the hero yesterday, had the walk-off. This is his 2nd grand slam in 2 weeks. USM has the lead 5-2, but the Owls had the answers today. They scored 5 runs in the 8th inning and deny Southern Miss a sweep. They win this one 7-6. In the SWAC, Jackson State drops its series with Florida Gulf Coast, losing 9-4. Meanwhile, Alcorn got a series win at Alabama A&M yesterday. The Braves won 5-4 to move to 3-9 in conference play. On the final block, hear how legendary coach Bobby Bowden has big expectations for Clinton alum Cam Akers. I mean, really big.
This is the Sports Zone on WJTV 12.
While the women's season ended tonight, the Mississippi State men's late season surge came to an end on Tuesday night. The Bulldogs fell to Penn State in the semifinals of the NIT at Madison Square Garden, losing 75-60. The Nittany Lions were ahead by as much as 27, so this was not a sterling ending to a promising late season performance for MSU. But with really every key contributor expected to come back, the Dogs say they're valuing the experience to take into what should be a promising season next year.
We're ready to keep changing and turning this program around and looking forward for the future, you know. So we don't take this as an L. We take this as a learning experience and get ready for next year.
And I think they are excited. I think they really like each other and love each other and play for one another. And that's why it's so frustrating that we're finishing the season feeling this hollow about how we played, because we played so much better here.
MSU's 25 wins for the season are the most for the program since the 2003-2004 campaign. In high school hoops, one of our former area stars is setting his sights on the Ivy League. St. Andrews standout Garrison Wade announced his commitment to Dartmouth on Wednesday. Wade led the Saints to their first state title this season. Let's go to another former area high school star, but a football one. Former FSU head coach Bobby Bowden spoke at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes event in Gulfport on Friday. The college football legend ranks second all-time in Division I career victories. Now for the former area high school player part. Cam Akers got into the FSU record books himself, breaking the program's single-season freshman rushing record last season. Bowden says that probably won't be the last time the Clinton alum makes some history.
He had a great freshman year. He got over 1,000 yards. And if he can stay healthy now, he'll break every rushing record he got.
It's high praise right there. Akers' freshman rushing record yardage total also ranks 9th all-time in Seminole history. By now, maybe you're like me and feel a little tired of the oversaturation of national NFL draft coverage. If you're not, then there are multiple mock drafts going on, countless versions to satisfy your taste. The fact is, we're approaching the NFL draft quickly, so that means it's time for a lot of pro days. For the potential pros from Mississippi State, the biggest player to pay attention to at MSU's pro day was Martinez Rankin. Rankin participated in the vertical, broad jump, and some position drills. The offensive lineman from Mendenhall says he's focusing on his versatility and just getting used to this whole idea of pro football.
Just transitioning, like, understanding that this is a job, this is my livelihood, this is how I have to pay the bills, but, at the same time, embracing it, this is something I've been wanting my whole entire life.
Rankin is being projected as a 2nd to 3rd round pick for the NFL draft. As for Ole Miss, the Rebels have two main guys to watch as we approach the draft. Former stud pass rusher Marquise Haynes and Callaway alum Breland Speaks command some attention. Haynes wanted to shed some time off of his 40-yard dash, while Speaks says he feels like he showed what he's been showing during his college career.
I feel like I did pretty good, pretty solid day. Feel like I just showed what I showed this year on film.
I came out here, did everything I needed to do, the drills, the 40, everything the coaches wanted to see me do, I did them, and they was really pleased with me.
NFL.com projects Haynes and Speaks to be picked in the 3rd or 4th round. In Hattiesburg, two Golden Eagles to keep an eye on as we approach the NFL draft are Ito Smith and Corey Robertson. Smith says he met with the Patriots and will meet with the Cowboys, Titans, Rams, Seahawks, and Colts. That's a lot of teams. Robertson says he has met with the Saints and Patriots. Both feel like they have a lot to work on. That pro day was a success in what's a very long draft process.
Man, just grinding, man. It's been constant, a lot of stressing over today.
Concept goes to run good routes today and be fluent through all my routes. So I think I did pretty good today.
Well, two non-Golden Eagles of note participated too. Former Alcorn State stars Orlando Veals and DeLance Turner took part. Remember, they played for Jay Hobson in Lorman. And over at D1 Jackson in Madison, Jackson State held its pro day on Monday. Keontre Anderson and Andre Lloyd were some key names to watch. Scouts from various NFL and CFL teams were on hand to check out this year's group of draft-eligible players. JSU was not the only school represented. Belhaven and Delta State were some of the other schools who had players working out for all of the pro scouts. All right, that is going to do it here for us on the Sports Zone tonight. I mean, what a season for Mississippi State women's basketball. I know that tonight might feel very disappointing for a lot of you. I mean, if I was a fan, I would be disappointed as well when you get to the national title game 2 years in a row. It's tough to drop both of those, especially in the fashion that they did tonight. But I don't think Victoria Vivians could have played any better defense on Ogunbowale. I mean, that's one of the best buzzer beaters I have ever seen in men or women's basketball. And with that in mind, the women's Final Four this year was absolutely outstanding. All 3 games down to the wire, just incredible basketball. The men's tournament paled in comparison. As the play-by-play man for ESPN, Adam Amin, said, this might have been the best women's Final Four ever. Lived up to the hype of 4 #1 seeds making it. So that's going to do it for us here on the Sports Zone tonight. Thank you for sticking with our coverage throughout. I'm Tyler Griever. Have a good night.